Hope you're doing good. Today we'll talk about the factors on which the time a project takes depends. So you're doing a project, you want to know how long does it take? It depends on certain factors and we'll discuss them. Just make notes here as we speak so you have something to refer to visually. It the first factor it depends on is scope. Let me just list them down and we'll talk about it. These are the four factors it depends on. Scope is how many features, what platforms do we support, etc. Right? Do we support both mobile and web or only mobile? Any other requirements, right? Every time you add a requirement, it adds on to the time a project takes. So sometimes stakeholders get tempted when you are planning a project. They say, I want this, I want that. Right? It's very tempting. If you ask me what do you want in a car, I will say everything, right? I want ventilated seats, right? I want the AC to come through the seat so that there's no sweat on my back. I want self-driving. Why not, right? It sounds like fun. I want a car that parks itself. I want a car which I've parked outside, let's say. Before I come to the car, remotely I should be able to press a button on my smartphone or something, and the AC should come on so that in summer the car is comfortable by the time I get into it. It should have excellent fuel efficiency. It should be electric, right? We can just daydream all day long. And many stakeholders are at that, I was trying to find a more polite word, but I can't, so I'll just say it, are at that level of immaturity. I want this, I want that. One level of filtration should happen, at least in each person's mind, which is, yes, I want it, but it will cost more. Do I still want it? Just at a very abstract level, if you just understand that it has a cost, whatever the specific cost may be, whether it's a day, a week, a month, that's the second point. At least if you know there's a cost, you will keep the project focused on the immediate deliverables for the first release. And later on, you can do whatever you want, right? You can keep adding features, that's fine. But many people ask for V3 features in V1. So anyway, scope is the first factor. The second factor is quality. Quality can mean inch quality, like bugs, does it have occasional outages, etc. And do bugs that are fixed keep reappearing? When you fix a bug, are you introducing a new bug, etc. And then UX quality, which is both interaction design, which is it usable, and visual design, is it pretty? All of these come under quality. Then there's manpower. How many people are there full time on this project, or other competing initiatives they're working on? And sometimes stakeholders say, yeah, these people are dedicated to this project, but they pull them in for other things. Maybe they need to interview candidates applying to the company. Maybe there's an outage. Maybe they're, excuse me, maybe they're asked to give an opinion on another project being planned. Or maybe a project they worked on in the past needs to consult with them. So all these things add up. So one way you can look at it is not people, but how many person hours are available. And of course, this doesn't imply that you can just add more people and get more productivity. People are not fungible, but yes. Or a better way to put it is how many people and how many competing initiatives, which is what we already have here. The next thing is a management competence. Are they clear about what they want at the beginning, or are they saying vaguely, yeah, we want an e-commerce store? That can mean 100 things, right? Scope should be communicated via an interactive prototype, as I explained in the video earlier. Do different stakeholders have different points of view and they're all coming in and blurting out? Or have they coordinated among themselves what they want? Have they prioritized their requests? This comes first, this comes second, this comes third. Do they have reasonable expectations? Or are they asking for a year's work in a quarter? And many non-technical people, due to no fault of theirs, don't have the right mental model, the right intuition, as people who are not experts often don't have. They think everything is easy, they look at what's on the surface. So, anyway, these are the factors based on which the time dip is affected. The time does not depend on estimates and targets. What's an estimate? What's a target? An estimate is something the engineering team says. This will take maybe a quarter. A target is something business people say. This should be done in a month. Neither of these affect the time it takes because the time depends on the amount of work, not on what you say, right? You can talk all day long, words have zero value. Words don't affect anything. If I'm on the way to your house and you call me and you ask me, hey Karthik, how long will you take? I say maybe half an hour. Does it mean that I'll be there in half an hour? No, right? The time depends on the distance, traffic, whether the roads are closed or dug up, things like that, right? Just because I say I'll be there in half an hour doesn't mean that I'll be there in half an hour. If instead I had said 45 minutes, it doesn't mean it's getting delayed. So people often confuse the estimate for the reality. And that is why you should never negotiate an estimate because it ceases to be a useful estimate. Project will anyway take whatever time it takes. You are just fooling yourself with an inaccurate estimate. When I say you, I mean the non-technical business stakeholder here. Target is what the business stakeholders say, as we discussed. Again, that affects probably even less. Going back to this analogy, if I call you, or if you call me and say, hey, Karthik, I need you to be here in half an hour, that's a target you've set for me. Again, that doesn't affect the time of the journey. So, if a non technical stakeholder wants it done faster, he can't just say, I need it done by whatever, May 21st. It's not going to make any difference to the project. What he needs to do is control these factors, reduce the scope, rethink is the quality requirement we have in mind necessary, or can we get a prototype or a V1 out quicker? Am I distracting the people working on the project? And sometimes non technical stakeholders keep wasting engineers' time. And when I say waste, I mean waste in the sense of the immediate project. I'm not saying that what they're talking about doesn't have value. Sure, it has value, but it slows down this project. And then they say, why is it delayed? Well, partly it's delayed because of you, which again comes back to management competence. So simply saying it needs to be done by this date or can we do it faster? Right? Sometimes non-technical founders keep going around saying do it faster, do it faster, do it faster, which is just noise. It's like honking when you're stuck in traffic. Yeah, sure, you're expressing your emotion, but it doesn't result in any outcome. So whenever someone wants it done faster, simply saying do it faster or can we do it faster is useless. Instead, they should think back to these factors and ask how can I adjust these things to make the project go faster.